Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Corn Beaner. Today is Wednesday, March 20th, 2013. And today I want to bring you my long-term review for this bad boy right here. This is my PSVita. It looks weird because I have a little silicone case thing in the front. It's a little screen protector. I bought the Vita roughly a year ago. I bought it at launch. It came out last February. I know it's a little over the year. I've been meaning to get to this video, but I haven't had time, so let's do it right now. To start off, for a quick recap, you have 4 buttons, 2 analog sticks, not nubs. The difference between nubs and sticks is that if you took the sticks from your DualShock 3 controller and shrunk them down, that's what you get right here in the front. You get your D-pad, you get 2 buttons in the front, you get a rear camera, you get a front camera that's right there that you can barely see right here, a touch screen, and a touch pad. The screen is 5 inches. It's OLED, so it is very bright, very beautiful. A lot of colors displayed on this thing. Well, that is the quick recap. Looking at the inside, when you put it in sleep mode, it's like this. Swipe that down, and then you have just screens upon screens of stuff that you downloaded, games or whatnot. The system itself comes with 2 versions, a 3G version. The 3G coverage is provided to you by AT&T. A Wi-Fi version, which is what this is here. And the price difference between the two is about 50 bucks depending on where you go. Between the 2 versions, they do have special editions out. I believe they do have a Black Ops Declassified edition and a Assassin's Creed Liberation bundle pack. I haven't checked any of those out, but those are options if you want them with the game. As far as the system itself, a year in, do I have any regrets actually paying and buying the system? In all honesty, look, I'm a Sony whore. I don't know if you guys can kind of tell by the posters in behind me, and some of these are just kind of coincidences, but the fact that I have a bunch of Sony posters kind of points out that, you know what, I'm not a Sony fanboy, but I do tend to cater myself more towards that side of a business. Everybody must choose a business that they side with, and when it comes to gaming, I tend to choose Sony from the, from in my grown perspective. Back then it was Nintendo, now it's Sony. So no, to answer that question that I asked myself, because that's always a good way to make a video, right? Ask yourself questions. No, I don't have any regrets whatsoever. I bought it, and a year later, it still gets regular play. When I first started out, I spent a lot of time with Hot Shots Golf World Invitational. I played Uncharted, Golden Abyss. Then I got MLB 12, the show, and there went 6 months of my life playing that game, and mainly because it was a good on-the-bus game, because I had to take the bus to my job, from my job back. It was perfect for that situation, so I spent a lot of time with that game. And even when I got home, just trying to rank up my pitcher, I spent hours. I'm talking about like 12 seasons worth of hours on that game. And in the process of me actually getting, when it first came out, everything was there. The online structure, the trophies, everything that they pretty much essentially promised at the beginning was there, which was great. And now they've only added to that. The biggest inclusion to me is the fact that if you are a PS Plus member, your membership, if you have it for the PS3, transfers over to the Vita if you use the same username to log into your Vita. So that means for 50 bucks a year, you get PS Plus on not only your PS3, but your PS Vita. And now they added the free game incentive, like some older games are now free on PlayStation 3 if you stay a PlayStation Plus member. This same program now applies to your Vita, and that has worked wonders for me because now they have Gravity Rush. I just downloaded Tekken 6, which is a PSP port of the PS3 game, but it's compatible with the PS Vita, so I downloaded that. I have a bunch of games that I've downloaded, but that essentially has led to a lot of flaws. And what the flaws are it's not power, it's not screen, it's the fact that the system itself does not come with any type of internal flash memory. So you have to buy these specialized Sony PS Vita cards. So you gotta buy one of these cards. They come in 4, 8 gig, 16 gig, and 32 gig. The latter of the two can be rather pricey. The 16 gig you can find as cheap as 50 bucks. The 32 gig you can find as cheap as $90. But regular price in-store retail, you're talking about maybe 50 to 60 for the 16 gig, and 100 bucks pretty much is the lowest you will find them in retail. If you can find them cheaper, that's good. And with the inclusion of the free game program for the PS Vita, I have an 8 gig stick and I have a 4 gig stick. It's a lot of game shuffling. I find myself having to delete a bunch of stuff in order to play some of the new stuff, having to delete the new stuff to go back and play the old stuff, and it's led to that. And that's really the only thing that has really become a hindrance with my enjoyment on the PS Vita, is that expensive cost of entry. When I first bought this, I spent $300. $250 on the Vita, $50 on the memory card, and you know what, actually $340, because then I had to buy a game, so that was $340. You're talking about the price of a PlayStation 3 for a portable. And then to top it off, the battery life is not that great. It'll range anywhere between 3.5 hours to 6 hours, depending on what games you're playing and what you're actually doing with it. The average time being about maybe 4.5 hours. So that can always be a hindrance there. If you have a lot of long road trips, if you have kids and say you're going from like Southern California to like San Francisco on a regular basis, like, you know, like once every 2 months, you're gonna run into problems. Yes, you can buy things for your car, buy accessories so you can charge it on the way, but it just becomes more of an investment with those type of trips and with it being used for that matter. At launch, I stated back then in my unboxing, was probably one of the greatest launches since the launch of the Super Nintendo. And I still believe that to this day. The one thing that I will say about the Vita as a whole and Sony as a whole is that if you're like me, if you're like, I guess, a Sony whore or a little Sony slut, it's a great investment. You know, go ahead and buy it. You're gonna see your money, especially if you have a PS3 with PlayStation Plus, you're gonna see the investment pay dividends already amongst itself. But if you're new to it, you wanted to get it, I'm still gonna say hold off. If you haven't bought it already, I don't think there's anything out there right now that Sony has released for this system that is a must buy. There is no game that makes you go, oh, I need to play it, I need to have it. There is no software that way. If you are a fan of the software Sony releases on the PlayStation 3, you can find similar products for it on the PlayStation Vita. Even more so that Sony started the cross-buy program, meaning like a game like a PlayStation All-Star Battle or the new Sly Cooper game. If you bought the PS3 version, you can get the PSVita version for free, which is always an awesome program. But if things like that don't interest you, you're gonna have to wait for that killer app, and I really don't know when that killer app is gonna come out. Me, myself, for anybody who is pro Sony, it's 5 out of 5. It's a must buy in my opinion. But look, trying to make myself look from the outside looking in, it's gonna be a 4 out of 5. There's still no killer game and everything is really Sony centric. If you just for some reason don't like anything that Sony is actually doing, this is not going to change your mind. This strictly right now is for pro Sony users, pro Sony, I guess, members of the gaming community. If you like Sony, this is for you. If you don't like Sony, hold off, wait for that one game, and I mean one game, that's going to make you want to buy it and then get it, and then once you're happy with that, you can experience the rest of what the rest of us Vita users have been enjoying since pretty much launch. Yeah, I'm going to drop it off like that. I'm going to leave it like that. 4 out of 5 for anybody who is not pro Sony. 4 out of 5. And yeah, this has been Corn Beaner. I hope this has been somewhat helpful, and I'll see you guys next time.